Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, moments when the struggle seems endless, and yet you persist. You stand tall, even when it seems like the world around you wants you to fall. What if I told you that these signs are not weaknesses, but indicators of profound strength? Strength that isn't just about muscle or resilience in the face of adversity, it's deeper. It's the kind of strength that is forged through silence, through reflection, through understanding your worth, and never wavering from the truth of who you are. The truth is, there are women walking this earth every day who don't even recognize their own strength because it manifests in such subtle yet powerful ways. What you perceive as your ordinary, everyday actions might just be the very things that set you apart as an extraordinary woman. This speech will help you unlock those signs and realize your full potential, not because of what you've done or what you plan to do, but because of who you are at your core. Strength, real strength, is not measured in the absence of struggle, but in the resilience one demonstrates in the face of it. We live in a world that often confuses strength with toughness, as if the ability to appear unaffected is the hallmark of strength. But true strength lies not in hiding from hardship, but in confronting it head-on, acknowledging it, and finding the courage to move forward. It's easy to be strong when things are going smoothly, when the road is clear and the skies are bright. The real test of strength, however, comes when the storm clouds gather, when the road becomes difficult to navigate, when the path ahead is obscured by uncertainty. We've all experienced moments in life when the weight of the world seems to press down on us. Moments when we wonder if we can take another step, when we wonder if we are even capable of enduring the challenge in front of us. It is in these moments that we face the true measure of our resilience. It is here that we discover how deeply our roots have grown into the soil of our values, beliefs, and inner strength. The women who are truly strong are not those who avoid these moments, but those who face them with courage, determination, and an unshakable belief that they will not be broken. Strength is about having the courage to continue even when you don't know how you'll get through. It's about standing tall when everything around you is falling apart, when the external world seems to have turned against you. It's not about having everything figured out because life rarely gives us certainty. It's about maintaining faith in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It's about trusting that you have the tools within you to navigate the storms, even when the world seems to be doing its best to knock you down. There's something profoundly empowering in this kind of resilience. It doesn't scream for attention or demand recognition. It simply persists quietly, but powerfully. The woman who remains strong in the face of adversity doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. She doesn't need external validation because she knows at her core that she is capable, that she has endured before, and she will endure again. The strength to endure is one of the most profound qualities a person can possess. It is this quiet, steady strength that forms the foundation upon which a person can build a life of purpose, success, and fulfillment. We all face moments of vulnerability. We all have times when we feel lost, uncertain, or overwhelmed. But it is through these moments that we uncover what we are truly made of. Every time we choose to rise above our fear, to stand in the face of difficulty, we reinforce the very essence of our being. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop. It's forged in the furnace of hardship, shaped by the trials and tribulations that life throws at us. And here's the thing, no matter how many times you fall, the true measure of strength lies not in avoiding failure, but in how you rise after it. The woman who faces adversity head-on, who stands tall and refuses to be crushed by the weight of her challenges, is a woman who has mastered the art of resilience. She is the woman who gets up, brushes off the dust, and keeps moving forward. She understands that failure is not the end, it's merely a part of the journey. Strength is also about having the humility to acknowledge that you can't do it all alone. It's about recognizing that while you might have the resilience to endure, you also need the support of others to thrive. It's easy to be strong when you have a network of people who support you, who remind you of your worth, and who encourage you when you falter. But even in the moments when you have no one else, when you feel isolated and alone, the true strength is found in your ability to lean into your own inner resources, to tap into the well of courage that resides deep within you. At the heart of this resilience is self-awareness. You must know who you are, what you stand for, and what you are willing to fight for. Self-awareness gives you the clarity to understand your strengths, but also your limitations. It gives you the ability to face challenges with a clear mind, knowing that even if you don't have all the answers, you will figure it out as you go along. It is this self-awareness that allows you to tap into your deeper reserves when times get tough. True resilience is not about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about learning to dance with it, to face it squarely and with resolve. It's about acknowledging that pain is a part of the human experience, but it does not have to define you. It is what you do with that pain, how you channel it into growth, that determines your strength. When you choose to face adversity with grace and determination, you transform that adversity into a stepping stone for your own personal evolution. In the end, strength is not about what happens to you, it's about what you do with what happens to you. It's about the way you respond to life's challenges, the way you face your fears, and the way you rise from your setbacks. Strength is not just a reaction to the difficulties you encounter, it is the proactive choice to continue, to persist, to rise up, and to thrive in the face of it all. There is something fundamentally vital in understanding that strength is not simply a matter of physical endurance or the ability to suppress emotion. It is much deeper than that. Strength is an internal fortitude, a quality that can only be developed through living a life that demands resilience, discipline, and the constant reevaluation of one's values. Strength is forged through experience, through the setbacks, the struggles, the moments when everything seems to be slipping through your fingers and yet you still choose to press forward. It's about recognizing that life is filled with pain, with hardship, and yet in the face of it there exists the possibility of growth, of transformation, of becoming something more than you were before. We often talk about strength in ways that suggest it's a quality reserved for certain people, those who are born with it, or those who manage to achieve it by some stroke of luck or privilege. But this is simply not true. Strength is a choice. It's not about avoiding pain or discomfort. In fact, the more you try to avoid those things, the more you lose touch with the very essence of what it means to be strong. Strength is about embracing the reality of suffering, not because you're masochistic, but because you understand that suffering is not the enemy, it's the means through which you grow. When you look at a person who is truly strong, it's easy to assume that they've never had to struggle. They seem calm, composed, and steady no matter the circumstances. But what you often don't see is the quiet battles they've fought in the shadows, the personal challenges they've overcome, and the pain they've learned to endure and carry with grace. Real strength doesn't call attention to itself. It doesn't demand admiration. It simply persists, even when the world around you might seem to be unraveling. The essence of strength lies in the ability to continue. It's about having the capacity to keep moving forward, even when every ounce of you wants to give up. It's about standing tall in the face of adversity, knowing that you might not have all the answers, but just trust yourself enough to figure it out as you go. There's a quiet power in knowing that you don't need to have everything figured out right now, that it's okay to be uncertain, and that sometimes the strength comes from not knowing the answers, but still choosing to take the next step forward. But resilience does not come from a place of passivity. It's not about waiting for life to be easier or for the storm to pass. It's about actively confronting the difficulties you face, embracing them with a mindset that refuses to be defeated. Life doesn't owe us comfort. Life doesn't owe us ease. It's up to us to find our way through, to build the skills necessary to navigate the challenges, and to develop the inner strength that allows us to handle whatever comes our way. This resilience is built by the small choices you make every single day. It's about taking responsibility for your actions, acknowledging your mistakes, and committing to making better decisions in the future. The person who is truly strong is the one who takes ownership of their life and doesn't wait for someone else to solve their problems. Strength is not about avoiding responsibility, but about facing it head on, knowing that you can handle whatever is thrown at you. At the same time, strength is not about being impervious to emotion. It's not about being a robot or someone who shuts down their feelings. In fact, the truly strong person is deeply in touch with their emotions, and they are not afraid to feel. They understand that to be truly strong, one must be vulnerable, to experience life fully, You must allow yourself to feel both the highs and the lows. Strength is about feeling those emotions without letting them control you. It's about processing them, learning from them, and using them as fuel to propel yourself forward. To be strong, you must also learn the value of self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the ability to push through discomfort, to resist temptation, and to stay focused on your long-term goals. It's about knowing that success is not given to you, it's earned day by day through your actions and your choices. Strong people don't wait for success to find them. They go after it relentlessly with the understanding that every step forward counts, no matter how small it may seem. And strength is often built in solitude. While relationships and support networks are critical, the real work of building strength often happens in the quiet, when no one is watching, when you are alone with your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. This is where you face your fears and confront your weaknesses. This is where the true test of character lies, not in the applause of others, but in the quiet moments when you make the choice to do the right thing, even when no one is looking. The strongest people I know are not the ones who have had the easiest lives, but the ones who have endured the most and come out the other side not broken, but strengthened. They've learned the art of picking themselves up after each failure, of learning from their mistakes, and of continuing to fight day after day. It's not about never failing, it's about how you handle failure that matters. The person who rises from failure, who keeps going even when the world tells them to stop, is the person who will ultimately find success. Strength is about pushing through the tough times, learning from each experience, and constantly striving to become the best version of yourself. It's about developing a mindset that is focused on growth, on perseverance, and on the belief that you are capable of overcoming whatever life throws your way. It's not an easy path, but it's the only path that leads to real fulfillment, to living a life of purpose and meaning. There is a deep and inherent struggle within each of us, a battle that can often feel like it's tearing us apart. It's the battle between who we are right now and who we have the potential to become. The person we've already shaped through our past choices, and the person we're capable of shaping through the choices we make today. Every day you face this choice. You decide whether to let fear dominate you or to push through it, to embrace the discomfort that growth requires, or to settle for the easier path, the one that leads nowhere but to mediocrity. And let me be clear, there is a distinct cost to choosing the easier path. It's not just a lack of external success, though that might certainly follow. It's the toll it takes on your soul, your very character. The one thing that defines a man or a woman is the integrity of their character. How you choose to face the challenges of life, how you choose to overcome adversity, and whether you allow yourself to become a person who crumbles under the weight of hardship or one who rises to the occasion. You see, most people don't understand that life doesn't owe you comfort. Life doesn't owe you easy days or a smooth road. The world will push back against you. It will push you to the edge of what you can endure, and then some. And in that space, the question becomes, how do you respond? Do you collapse under the pressure? Or do you stand tall, no matter how heavy the load? That's the ultimate test. That's where true strength lies. It's not in being invulnerable, it's in knowing your vulnerability and choosing to move forward despite it. Because here's the thing, when life gets hard, when you feel like the world is closing in on you, you have to remember that growth only happens when you confront your limits. Growth doesn't happen in the absence of struggle. It doesn't happen when everything is comfortable and safe. It happens when you step into the discomfort, when you face the things that scare you, when you confront your deepest insecurities and doubts and decide that they will not define you. Growth is the result of a conscious choice to rise above your circumstances and to take control of your own narrative. But this isn't easy. The temptation to give up, to give in to your fears is constant. It's like an invisible force constantly trying to pull you back into the comfort of your old habits, your old ways of thinking. It would be so much easier to quit. It would be so much easier to stay in the place where you don't have to confront the difficult truths about yourself. It would be so much easier to ignore the small voice inside you that tells you to keep going, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. The truth is, you are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. The version of you that you are right now, the version that doubts, the version that fears, the version that doesn't believe in their own potential. That's not who you truly are. That's just a phase, just a moment in time. What you have inside you, what you are capable of becoming is far greater, but you will never realize that unless you decide to move through the discomfort. You have to step into the unknown. You have to push through the barriers that life has placed before you. And this is where people often fail. They confuse the feeling of discomfort with the idea that they're on the wrong path. They mistake the challenge for a sign that they should stop. But that's where they're wrong. Discomfort is not a signal to quit. It's a signal that you're growing. It's a sign that you're expanding your capacity, that you're testing the boundaries of what you're capable of. It's a sign that you're about to break through, but only if you keep going, only if you keep pushing, even when everything in you wants to stop. You see, life doesn't ask you to be perfect. It doesn't ask you to have everything figured out. It simply asks you to move forward even when you don't know the way. It asks you to trust in your ability to solve problems, to rise above the challenges that seem insurmountable. It asks you to develop the courage to confront your own limitations and find a way through them. It asks you to take responsibility for your life, for your choices, and to stop blaming others for the difficulties you face. When you take ownership of your life, when you take responsibility for your decisions, that's when the true transformation happens. The truth is, the most successful people aren't the ones who've the easiest path. They're the ones who've faced the most adversity and kept going. They're the ones who've encountered failure and rejection, who've been knocked down repeatedly, but who've gotten back up each time. That's where success lies, not in avoiding failure, but in how you handle it. Not in avoiding difficulty, but in how you face it and use it to fuel your progress. There is no such thing as the perfect moment, the perfect set of circumstances that will make everything fall into place. No, that's just a lie people tell themselves to avoid taking action. The truth is, the perfect moment is the one you create. It's the moment you decide to move forward despite the uncertainty, despite the fear. It's the moment you stop waiting for things to be easy and start making the best of the things that come your way. You can't wait for life to get better. You have to make it better. You have to choose to rise above your circumstances. You have to choose to be more than you are right now. And when you make that choice, when you decide that nothing will hold you back, that's when the magic happens. That's when you begin to tap into the strength you never knew you had, and you begin to see the world around you change. But it all starts with the decision to keep going, to keep fighting, and to keep moving forward, no matter what. The true measure of success isn't found in wealth or status or fame. It's found in your ability to confront the challenges of life head on and keep moving forward, no matter the odds. It's found in your willingness to grow, to learn from your mistakes, and to push yourself to become the best version of yourself. When you do that, you don't just change your life, you change the world around you. And that is the real victory. Life in its most honest form is not about comfort or ease, nor is it about avoiding conflict. Too many people think that they can live a good life by simply navigating around the difficulties, by staying in a safe space where the challenges don't seem so insurmountable. But the truth is, the people who grow, the ones who transform, are the ones who lean into the discomfort. They are the ones who, despite everything, choose to stand tall in the face of adversity. The moment you face a difficult situation, a hard choice, or a personal trial, that's when the opportunity for growth presents itself. When things get tough, you don't run away, you don't shrink. You confront it. You meet it head on with everything you have, even when you feel like you might not have enough to overcome it. This is where you become something more than you were before. You see, society often tells us that we must be perfect, that we must get everything right from the start. But that's not how life works. Perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. We are flawed creatures, each of us carrying our own burdens, our own weaknesses. What matters, however, is how we respond to these imperfections, how we deal with the pain and the struggles, and how we learn from them. The pursuit of growth isn't about eradicating the parts of yourself that aren't perfect. It's about understanding those parts, accepting them, and still choosing to push forward despite them. When we begin to think of our struggles as opportunities for growth, we transform our very relationship with hardship. Think of the many challenges you've already faced in your life. I'm sure there were moments when you doubted yourself, when you wondered if you could go on, if the burden was too much to bear. But then something happened. Something inside you shifted. You didn't give up. You didn't surrender to the weight of it all. You might not even have known how you were going to get through, but somehow you did. You emerged on the other side stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. It wasn't the absence of fear that made you stronger, it was your courage in the face of it. The strength comes not from being fearless, but from acting despite fear. It's the ability to move through the storm and still stand tall. But why is it that some people seem to collapse under the weight of difficulty while others find ways to thrive in the most trying circumstances? The difference, more often than not, lies in the way we approach the challenge. Do we see it as an insurmountable obstacle or as an opportunity to discover who we are truly capable of becoming? The way you view your struggles will determine how you navigate them. If you view hardship as something that is there to break you, then you will become broken. If you view it as something that will strengthen you, as something that will forge you into a more powerful version of yourself, then you will find yourself becoming more capable with every passing day. The mind, the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind, will either empower you or hold you back. It is crucial to recognize that the narratives we tell ourselves are powerful. When you tell yourself that you can't handle something, that it's too much for you to bear, you are actively reinforcing the very idea that you cannot succeed. However, when you choose to acknowledge the difficulty and then decide that you will move forward, you begin to take control of your own destiny. You become the one who is driving the narrative, not the circumstances. This idea of taking control is so crucial in today's world, where many people are convinced that the key to happiness lies outside of themselves. It's easy to believe that happiness is something that can be given to you by others, by relationships, by success, by external achievements. But true happiness comes not from external validation, but from within. It comes from knowing that you have the strength to face whatever comes your way, from being at peace with the fact that life is challenging, but you have the capacity to rise above it. Real strength is not about avoiding the hard things, it's about engaging with them and doing what needs to be done, regardless of how difficult it may seem. So many people get caught in a cycle of waiting. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect set of circumstances, the right opportunity. But there is no such thing. The perfect moment is the one you create. You are not powerless in your own life. You have the ability to make decisions, to take action, to shape your future. Don't wait for the world to tell you that it's time. You decide. You take the reins of your life and start moving forward, even if it's a slow and difficult journey. Growth, personal transformation, and the building of true strength come from overcoming the things that seem too difficult to overcome. It comes from fighting through the moments when everything within you tells you to stop, when your mind is screaming at you to give in. It comes from choosing to keep moving forward no matter what. This is where your greatest potential lies, in those moments of resistance, when you feel like everything is stacked against you, but you choose to fight anyway. In these moments, you discover who you really are. You discover the true measure of your character. And when you come out on the other side, when you face the challenge and conquered it, you are not just a little stronger, you are transformed. You've built a foundation of strength that can never be taken from you because it was earned through struggle, through resilience, and through the courage to keep going when it would have been so much easier to quit. This is not about the absence of fear, it's about courage in the face of fear. It's about embracing the struggle, knowing that it is through these trials that you become more of the person you were always meant to be. So face your challenges with determination and remember that the hard path is the path to growth. You will never regret the choice to rise above your circumstances. The only regret will be the moments you spend avoiding the fight. So choose to fight, choose to grow. And in doing so, you will become a stronger, more capable version of yourself than you ever imagined possible. There's a common idea that a woman's worth is somehow determined by the approval or admiration of others. Society often trains women to look outward for validation, to shape their identity according to the desires or expectations of the people around them. But this is a dangerous trap. It is a trap that leads to a life of dependency, on external validation, on the approval of others, and ultimately on a sense of emptiness that can never be truly fulfilled. The reality is, true strength lies not in seeking approval from others, but in cultivating a sense of self-worth that is unshakable, no matter what the world around you may say or think. The path to self-worth begins with acknowledging your own intrinsic value, independent of anyone else's opinions. It's essential to realize that your value doesn't come from the roles you fill, the relationships you have, or the accomplishments you've made. Those things can be important, of course, but they are not the source of your worth. Your worth comes from the fact that you are a unique individual capable of great things, and that your life matters because you are alive and capable of acting in the world. When you can internalize that belief, when you stop looking outside yourself for validation, you begin to build a foundation of strength that cannot be easily shaken. Yet, in a world that constantly tells women to be more, do more, look better, be thinner, smarter, kinder, or more compliant, it can be incredibly hard to break free from these expectations. Society bombards women with messages about what they should be, how they should act, and what they should look like in order to be considered worthy. The more we buy into these messages, the more we risk losing ourselves in the process. And this is where the real struggle lies, the fight to assert your own identity in the face of overwhelming external pressure. The journey of reclaiming your own sense of worth begins with learning to say no. It's about refusing to comply with the demands that others place on you, demands that don't align with your values, your needs, or your desires. Saying no is not an act of rebellion, nor is it an expression of anger or defiance. It is a recognition of your own agency and power. It is a declaration that you have the right to define yourself, to choose your own path, and to live life on your own terms. Saying no is one of the most empowering actions a woman can take, because it signals to the world that you will not be molded into something you are not. You will not be manipulated or coerced into being what others want you to be. Instead, you will forge your own way, even if it means standing alone. This power, however, doesn't come overnight. It is built slowly, through countless small acts of resistance to the forces that try to diminish you. It comes from standing firm in your beliefs, even when it's easier to conform. It comes from setting boundaries and learning to respect your own limits, rather than always stretching yourself thin to meet the needs of others. And it comes from facing discomfort head-on, knowing that discomfort is often the price you pay for living a life of integrity. One of the key components of building this inner strength is learning to trust yourself. Trusting yourself means recognizing your own wisdom and intuition. It means listening to that inner voice that tells you when something is wrong or when you need to make a change. It means having the courage to act on your convictions, even when it seems easier to go along with what everyone else is doing. Trusting yourself is about developing confidence in your ability to make the right decisions, even in the face of uncertainty. But trusting yourself also means embracing failure. It means understanding that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a stepping stone on the path to growth. If you are never willing to fail, you will never stretch beyond your current limitations. You will remain trapped in a cycle of mediocrity, unable to reach your true potential. Failure is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also necessary. It is the tool by which we learn, adapt, and grow stronger. And through failure, you will discover just how much you are capable of. Another aspect of building strength is learning to take responsibility for your life. Many people, especially women, are conditioned to look for external reasons for their dissatisfaction or unhappiness. They look to others to blame, or they place the blame on circumstances or bad luck. But the truth is, you are the one in control of your life. You are the one who decides how to react to the events that occur, how to interpret your circumstances, and how to move forward. This doesn't mean that you are always responsible for what happens to you, but it does mean that you are responsible for how you respond. And when you take responsibility for your actions, you empower yourself to create the life you want. Strength is also about recognizing that you are worthy of love and respect, not just from others, but from yourself. Too many women fail to acknowledge their own worth because they have been taught to downplay their achievements, to shrink themselves in the presence of others. But the truth is, you deserve to be treated with respect, and you deserve to stand tall and proud of who you are. When you begin to accept your own worth, you will no longer tolerate behavior from others that diminishes you. You will seek relationships and opportunities that honor you as you are, and not for what you can give to others. True strength lies not in what you can do for others, but in your ability to remain true to yourself in a world that constantly tries to convince you to be something else. It lies in your ability to say no when you need to trust your own intuition, to accept failure, to take responsibility for your life, and to love and respect yourself. This is the kind of strength that no one can take away from you. It's the kind of strength that will guide you through life, no matter the challenges that come your way. And it is this strength that will ultimately lead you to the life you are meant to live. The true essence of strength lies in the ability to endure without bending, to stand firm in the face of adversity. And yet, we live in a world that often seeks to diminish those very qualities, especially in women. Society feeds you this narrative of weakness, of helplessness, suggesting that a woman's worth is contingent upon external validation, how she looks, how she pleases others, or how she conforms to what is expected of her. But that, in itself, is a delusion. The real power of a woman is found in her ability to stand tall, to be resilient in the face of trials, and to remain true to herself despite the chaos that swirls around her. It's the quiet strength that doesn't need to be loud, that doesn't need to be seen, but remains undeniable and unwavering. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that external circumstances dictate our lives, that the things we endure shape our destiny. We often feel like victims of life's challenges, overwhelmed by the weight of responsibilities and the expectations others place on us. But this mindset is dangerous, as it places the locus of control outside of you, making you powerless in the face of your own struggles. The truth is, life will always throw curveballs. People will disappoint you, circumstances will change unexpectedly, and hardships will come in waves. But the question is, how will you respond? Will you accept victimhood, or will you rise above the circumstances to become the person you are truly capable of being? Strength, then, is not something that is given to you by others or even by circumstances. It is something that you create within yourself. It is born out of the small decisions you make every day. The way you rise in the morning and decide to face the day, even when things feel insurmountable. The way you push through fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Strength doesn't look like a muscle-bound warrior or an untouchable figure of perfection. It looks like a woman who chooses to keep going, no matter the cost, and does so with dignity, integrity, and a deep sense of purpose. We need to acknowledge that it's the quiet acts of courage that define strength. It's the moment when you choose to take responsibility for your own life, even when it's tempting to look to others to blame. It's when you make the decision to act, despite your fears and uncertainties. Strength is in the courage to keep moving forward, even when it seems that everyone else is retreating, even when your inner voice tells you that you are not good enough, even when the world seems to be stacked against you. The strongest women are not the ones who live without struggle, or those who manage to avoid difficulty. They are the ones who choose to face it head on, with a clear mind and a steady resolve. One of the most important aspects of strength is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are not about building walls or pushing people away, but about recognizing your own worth and teaching others how to treat you. Many women have been conditioned to place everyone else's needs above their own, to sacrifice their time, energy, and resources for the benefit of others, often at the expense of their own well-being. But when you fail to set boundaries, you fail to respect yourself, and in turn, others fail to respect you. A woman who understands her worth, who knows what she is willing to tolerate and what she will not, is one who commands respect, both from others and from herself. There is another layer to this strength, and it's found in the ability to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is often misconstrued as weakness, yet nothing could be further from the truth. True vulnerability requires immense courage. It requires you to open yourself up to others, to express your fears, your desires, your hopes. Vulnerability is not a sign of fragility, but of strength. It's the willingness to show your true self, to put your heart on the line, and to trust that even if things don't go as planned, you are strong enough to survive it. Women who embrace vulnerability understand that being open is not about being weak, but about finding the courage to live authentically, to connect with others on a deeper level, and to rise above the shame and fear that so often seek to keep us hidden. Strength is about embracing your uniqueness, your individuality, We live in a world that often pressures women to conform, to fit into predefined molds. Whether it's the way you look, the choices you make, or the career path you follow, society is constantly telling you how you should live. But true strength is about resisting the pull to fit in and instead embracing the person you're meant to be. The strongest women are not those who seek to blend in with the crowd. They are the ones who dare to stand out, who are unapologetic about their uniqueness and willing to pave their own path, even when it seems uncertain or difficult. Another critical aspect of strength is resilience, the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to rise after failure, and to persevere when all seems lost. Resilience doesn't mean that you won't experience pain or that you won't face disappointment. It means that despite the setbacks, you choose to get back up, to keep moving forward, and to find meaning and purpose even in the most difficult circumstances. The ability to bounce back is what allows you to not only survive, but thrive in an often unforgiving world. True strength is also found in the ability to give, to show compassion and empathy, even when you yourself are struggling. A strong woman recognizes the importance of lifting others up, supporting those in need, and sharing love with the world, even when it feels like there is nothing left to give. This selflessness, this generosity of spirit is what makes women truly powerful. It is not just the ability to endure hardship, but the strength to continue to give and to love, even when you are in need yourself.